So, I'm back. It's been a while since the last video, but I felt like it was time for my yearly post, so we're gonna do something a little bit different today. Today I want to talk about how filmmakers control our emotions, because this is for a class project. So, I don't plan to make this boring. I'm gonna try to make it as entertaining as I can. Anyways, I want to talk about movies, films, anything you like. You know what I'm saying? It's a great way to pass time, have some fun, whether you're watching it with someone or by yourself like a fucking loser. We don't really think about it while watching the movies, but these filmmakers control our emotions like puppets. They can make us go through a lot of emotions using techniques with their cinematography or the lighting or the sound or more. We're gonna go through it in the video. So the way I decided to go about it was I want to talk about my favorite movies and favorite scenes, and we're gonna break it down. We're gonna look at some research. That's exciting, right? And we're gonna see how they do it. Before I forget, my research question is how do filmmakers use subtle and visual narrative techniques to create anticipation leading to a climax? And what psychological effects do these choices have on the audience? All right, let's get into it. Movie number 1. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have not seen this movie, so it's weird to start off with it. But it does have one of my favorite scenes. I thought it was pretty emotional, and I was like, this would fit the project very well. So we're gonna go with it. Interstellar is a film that was released in 2014, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Matthew McConaughey and everybody else. Like I said, I actually haven't seen the movie before, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have ChatGPT write a script, and we're gonna have an AI voiceover go over it while I have little drawings going on in the background.
In a future where Earth is plagued by dust storms and food shortages, former NASA pilot Cooper is recruited for a secret mission to save humanity. Scientists have discovered a wormhole near Saturn that leads to another galaxy with potentially habitable planets. Cooper joins a team that includes Drive, Amelia Brand on the spaceship Endurance to explore these planets. Their goal: find a new home for humankind. As they travel through the wormhole, they encounter time dilation, where hours on one planet equal years on Earth. Meanwhile, Cooper's daughter Murph, now a scientist on Earth, tries to solve the gravity equation to enable large-scale space travel. Ultimately, Cooper sacrifices himself by entering a black hole to transmit vital data back to Murph through a tesseract-like dimension connected by gravity and love. This data allows Murph to solve the equation and save humanity. The film ends with Cooper waking up on a space station orbiting Saturn, called Cooper Station, and then setting off to reunite with Brand, who is establishing a colony on a new planet.
Not gonna lie, that sounded pretty sad. I don't know why I haven't watched this yet. Anyways, that's not the point. We're gonna specifically focus on this scene.
Don't let me leave, Murph!
You've probably seen it before. It was a pretty popular meme a while ago. Haha, funny guy, he crying, haha. No, this scene is not funny. The scene is not funny. Very sad. The scene is filled with suspense and tension, so let's go through it together. According to a paper titled Toward a General Psychological According to a paper titled According to a paper called Toward a General Psychological Model of Tension and Suspense by that guy. I'm gonna just say his last name. Lean, like the drink. It focuses on the tension that arises from conflict, dissonance, uncertainty. What's the last one I'm looking for? Instability, and how audiences react to it. This whole scene revolves around this idea. The scene starts with heavy breathing from Cooper, the guy right there, the guy that's Matthew McConaughey. And we see as he's like floating through this like trippy ass, like, I don't know. I think I have it written somewhere in the script. You'll probably see it when I get to there. We get a close-up shot of his face, and we get to see, I think he's looking at the past. He's looking at himself, I'm pretty sure. And he's like, don't go. That's not yet. I just spoiled it. I'm sorry. The scene cuts between like past and present versions of his daughter. Not really that important. Cooper watches as Murph, his daughter right there, is telling him to leave because, you know, he's about to go to space to help save humanity or something like that, I think. And he's just like, no, don't make me leave. Don't do that. Cooper is obviously upset because if he can get himself to stop going, he won't be in this this weird ass place. At this point in the movie, we start seeing the score start slowly coming in. It creeps in, and it's like played throughout the whole movie. I mean, if you paid attention, I think it's played throughout the. Again, remember, I haven't watched it, but I'm assuming it did. I think it did. It evokes a feeling of uncertainty that like builds up towards the climax. We watch as Cooper tries to get Murph to tell him to stay, but no matter what he does, it just doesn't work, because if it worked, he wouldn't be in this space right now. The music starts becoming even more intense. We see Cooper just, no, don't do this, don't let me leave, and he's like crying and shit. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. I don't know why I'm laughing at this. By the end of it, we come to see that President Murph is like, ah shit, he was trying to tell me something when I was younger, but I was dumb as hell. And she's like, oh my god, he's been trying to save us the whole time. Looking at like Matthew's like breakdown going on. Not Matthew. What's his name? What's the guy's name? Not Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan made the movie. Who is the guy? Cooper. As we watch Cooper try to like escape and stuff like that and crying, like the background reflects that. You could see it's like, it's erratic, it's chaotic. There's so much going on. There's so much going on in Cooper's head. He's losing his fucking mind, I think he's in the, I wrote it. Tesseract. He's in the Tesseract dimension? I don't know. Lean emphasizes that audiences experience a surge of emotions when they are faced with uncertainty in unpredictable situations. At the scene, we watch Cooper as he tries to reach out to Murph. We have like two big questions. Will the message get to Murph? And will Cooper get out of the fucking 10th layer of hell? The acting was great. Very good acting. I think what really big thing is the score. I really like the score by the guy that's in every Christopher Nolan movie, I think. Ludwig Göransson.
Ludwig Göransson.
We can also look at Noam Kroll's ideas from his article, The Psychology of Film Editing and Impact on Your Audience. Mainly the part where he says that editors and filmmakers are like the emotional conductors. They're the ones that control our emotions, using things like the rhythm and the sound of the editing, sound effects, rhythm of the editing. You know what I'm saying? All that fun shit. During the scene, the cuts are kind of fast and a little bit random, and it reflects Cooper's mind state. He's literally watching as he leaves again, making one of the biggest mistakes of his life. It doesn't settle on one image for too long or one cut for too long. They don't want the audience to settle down and be like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah. Okay, move on to the next day. No, you don't have a choice. It's cut and then another cut and then another cut. It's not meant to comfort us. The close-ups aren't there just to like show his sadness, but like as the audience, we also feel like we're trapped in there with him. I think I'm gonna watch the movie now. We're gonna move on to Whiplash. Indie film released in 2014, directed by Damien Chazelle, starring Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. Omni-Man. You know Omni-Man. Everyone knows Omni-Man. The story follows Andrew Neiman, a drummer who aspires to be the best in the world, because who doesn't want to be the best at their favorite thing? And while attending a prestigious school, he meets J.K. Simmons, aka Fletcher. We're just gonna call him Fletcher because I don't remember his first parents. I think it's Terrence. Terrence Fletcher, yeah. And he is known as one of the greatest conductors. He's one of the conductors in the school. Wasn't really even like a meeting. He kind of just like waltzed into the room and watched him play, and then he just left. Andrew's like, I want to play in his band because the one that Andrew's in is kind of mediocre. He knows that Fletcher's the better band, so he works towards it. So he goes, blah, blah, blah. He gets accepted as the backup drummer, gets assaulted a few times, the business. Still doesn't become the core drummer, plays until his hands bleed. 2 times, finally gets the part, almost dies in a car accident, loses his shit at Fletcher. He gets expelled. Fletcher gets fired. Fletcher gets fired. That's the word. Andrew goes on to play for Fletcher again later on, and Andrew is like, oh cool, this is great, and then Fletcher's like, fuck you, and then has revenge against him because, whoa, look at that, Andrew got him expelled because he testified against them, something like that. But Andrew decides to keep playing, plays regardless, even though he's getting made fun of. He just starts playing the only song he knows, Caravan, and him and Fletcher, they kiss and make up. Basically get the gist of it. Go watch it if you haven't. The scene I want to focus on is the final scene where he just starts playing the drums without Fletcher's permission. The scene is filled with amazing camera work, and there's a specific kind of style that I want to talk about, and it's called cryptic emotional shots. I lied, cryptic reaction shots. You just think of them as like close-ups on characters where they're just not talking. You just have to like look at them and make your own judgment. This was coined by James E. Cutting and KCL Armstrong in a study called Cryptic Emotions and the Emergence of a Meta-Theory of Mind in Popular Film. There you go. Almost fucked it up again. It goes into depth on how the audience is expected to look at these characters, look at emotions and stuff like that, subtle cues, and like put the pieces together. And this whole scene reflects the idea. Throughout the scene, very little words are actually exchanged, and we are forced to actually just look at these characters and just make our own judgments based on how they're feeling and what cues they're giving. We watch Fletcher go from angry as shit to like, you know what, I kind of fuck with this, keep playing. Andrew stays dead silent throughout the whole performance. And he's so locked in. Look at him. Look at him. He's so fucking locked. At the end of the song, Andrew keeps playing. And Fletcher's like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you doing? During the solo, we get a brief cut to his father, who's standing there fucking horrified. And it's because he has tried to stop Andrew from being so obsessed with the drums. But he just watched his son get sucked into it. And he's in too deep. It's too late for him, basically. Nearing the end of the solo, Fletcher comes in and starts conducting him. And Andrew's like, all right, cool. I'll just listen to you. There's like a moment of understanding with each other. It's not romantic though, thankfully. No, not thankfully. God damn it. Despite no words being spoken to each other in these like 8 minutes, you could just tell what they're saying to each other. There's so much that you could just pick up on. Going back to Noam Kroll's article, his idea of the rhythm of the cuts creating emotional momentum is shown very well in this scene. Rapid shifts between Andrew, Fletcher, and band causes makes you giddy, you know? It forces us to stay locked in. The movie ends with Fletcher giving Andrew the look of approval. You know, he just like, you know, he did that thing. It's the one thing Andrew was looking for throughout the whole fucking movie. And he finally got it. Now, whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave that for another video. Or you can watch it and make your own decision. Move on to another one of my favorites. Everything Everywhere All at Once. What a tongue twister, I know, right? Directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schnert. Herbert. I don't know what I was doing there. Starring Michelle Yeoh, Kei Hua Kwan. Oh my god, that was so butchered. I know that was. I'm not gonna go back and do it though. And Stephanie Hsu. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. The story follows Evelyn, a Chinese immigrant who lives and owns a laundromat with her husband, Waymond. Not Raymond. It's a W in the front. Don't get it mixed up, okay? I had it mixed up when I first started watching. It's Waymond. They have a daughter named Joy. She'll be important in a bit. They have a lot going on. The laundromat's being audited by the IRS. Waymond attempts to serve Evelyn divorce papers just so they can have some kind of conversation. Evelyn's grandfather is visiting her for Chinese New Year's. Joy does not have the best relationship with her mom. Part of that comes with her being in a relationship with another lady, and she's not Chinese. During a meeting with the IRS lady, Waymond becomes not Waymond, and he just starts spouting random bullshit, mainly about how every choice you make makes a new universe. Ah, goddamn. I have resorted to standing because I have just broken my laundry basket. Anyways, let's continue. There's an evil version of Joy out there. Her name is Jobu, but I'm gonna call her Evil Joy because I think that's fucking funny. She's basically trying to destroy the multiverse with an everything bagel. I'm sure it's just a black hole though. Evelyn goes through a lot of bullshit to try and save Evil Joy or stop Evil Joy. I guess is the first goal. They find themselves jumping between a bunch of universes together, and at one point almost kill themselves together. Look at me, I'm Joy. I'm gonna kill myself because I don't like my mother. In the end, Evelyn attempts to make everything right again with her Joy. You know, she's like, I'm sorry. She makes things right with Waymond. You know, she accepts Joy for who she is, and she gets to redo her taxes for the laundromat, so she will not lose it. That was the biggest plot. This all started because of a laundromat. It's all started because they didn't file their taxes properly. Anyways, let's take a deeper look at the climax of the story. More specifically, the editing. We're gonna spin back again. I think this is the third time I've used Noam Kroll. I swear this is the last time he shows up. I swear. And we're gonna look at his article and we're gonna be like, we're gonna look at the 7 points that he talks about. I think it's 7. We're gonna look at his points. We're gonna look at his points, okay? I'll restate the article again. The psychology of film editing and its impacts on the audience. He says editing is like mind control, and I'll prove it to you guys right now. I bet you're fucking hungry. Huh? Yeah, look. Look at all the food. Look at all the food. Ooh, look at this guy eating the food. He's fucking enjoying that shit right now. He's fucking up that burger right now. I'm so sorry. He usually calls this invisible editing. Editing that's not really noticed, using things like cutting under action to guide the viewer's understanding of what is going on. We're gonna start by looking at the scene, and we're gonna probably stay on it the whole time now that I think about it, of the scene where Evelyn begins to just like lose her fucking mind. As you can tell, everything is just flashing very rapidly, and it's done on purpose. Breaks away from the idea that I just talked about, because we notice the editing. We can see how fast the choppiness, everything is just, there's the boom, 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 there's sausage hands? What the fuck is going on? It's messy. It has no flow to it. Like I said, it's all done on purpose. It's supposed to mirror Evelyn's mind state. She's literally losing her fucking mind. And like you can see all the universes, different versions of her, and she's just like, there's no point to anything. Her mind is fractured, and that's why the scene is so disorienting. Now let's look at rhythm and emotion. The timing of the cuts can make a big change on how a scene feels. Going back to Evelyn like losing her mind, imagine if these cuts weren't as fast. Imagine if they like stayed for a little bit longer. You wouldn't feel that same sense of disorientation. Basically what I'm trying to say is the emotion that's trying to be conveyed just isn't getting to the viewer. If it was any slower, you would have more time to take everything in. So the reason for the fast cuts is so that you don't have the control. You feel like you're out of control. The small mini cuts that flash by really quickly are like absurd and violent and just insane. They all do a lot to change the tone. As random as it might feel to us, this is just what Evelyn is feeling in that moment. Let's take a look at his next idea, trust and immersion. Kroll says that viewers need to trust the movie to actually stay engaged in it. When the editing is too apparent and very easily noticed, it just kind of cuts the connection between the film and the audience. And once that is broken, it's kind of hard to reestablish it. Watching all the chaos ensue, it becomes hard to follow the flow of the story. There isn't a single stable visual that's on screen. That is the part that Kroll talks about where the trust is broken. But as Evelyn recenters herself, we watch the editing slowly go back to being invisible. It mirrors the fact that Evelyn has actually finally come to an understanding of what she needs to get done. Next up, we got editing with a purpose. Kroll cautions editors to avoid self-indulgent editing that prioritizes style over substance. Things like clever cuts don't mean anything if it doesn't actually serve the story. Watching the different lives of Evelyn, despite how chaotic it is, all serves a point. It's choreographed to reflect Evelyn's journey and the themes of connection and regret. Just because it feels wild and random does not mean that there wasn't any intention behind it. This also ties back in with Lynn's research on suspense and tension. I'm going to restate it again. He believes that emotional engagement often increases at times when viewers don't know what's going to happen. Watching Evelyn jump around universes, switching identities, and losing her mind, they all tap into it. We're focused during all of it, but it's not because we know what's going to happen. It's because we don't know. All right, we're going to spin back on the idea of the editor's role of emotional connection. Fuck. All right, now we're going to spin back on the emotional role of the that's just not what that is. We're going to spin back on the idea of the emotional God. Why am I messing it up? Why am I messing it up? Why am I messing it? We're going to go back to the idea that I stated like 2 movies ago of the role of the editor being kind of like an emotional conductor. The editor is someone that shapes the story's pace, tone, intensity. What's the last one I'm looking for? Story themes. There's a lot of things, man. There's just a lot of things editors got to do. Look, I'm editing right now. It's hard. Put up how many hours it took, including this recording. Once Evelyn begins to embrace the ideas of kindness and acceptance, we see the editing starts to slow down. It's one of the ways that editors conduct the scenes so they can control our emotional states. It all comes together and it helps go from chaos to calm, going from the flashing cuts and the fucking lights all over their faces to just like, we chill it, we cool it. Everything's cool. I'm a loser in his room by himself. Anyways, amazing movie, great editing. Go watch it. Recently, I've been trying to get back into anime. I know, not my proudest moment either, but I like it, okay? My TikTok is far worse. Right there. And during my last winter break, me and my friends decided to watch a movie together. What was that movie? It happened to be your name. Based on a light novel written by Makoto Shinkai, the movie starts off with a little monologue. It's kind of important. Not gonna go over it. You don't need it. You don't need it. It's not that important. Anyways, we cut to a girl waking up, and she does something. She goes on to have breakfast with her family, and her grandma's like, "Oh, you're back to normal." She's like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Doesn't really care that much. Doesn't think much of it. Turns on the news, and apparently there's a comet that's about to go over the world, and it's only shows up every 1200 years. It's pretty important, so remember it. Just don't forget it, okay? Anyway, she heads off to school. She meets up with her friends, and her friends are like, "Oh, you're back to normal." And she's like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" On the way, they pass her dad, and her dad's running for mayor. She's pretty upset because she doesn't like her dad. Eventually, she makes it to class. She opens up her notebook, and there's a message, and it just says, "Who are you?" In the background, we can hear the teacher talking about twilight, which is, if you don't know already, not day or night. It's the transition period. And that's also kind of important, so remember that as well. She goes, hangs out with her friends. They're like, "Ah, you're back to normal for the second time." And then she's like, "You guys, y'all tweaking. I swear to God, y'all tweaking." That's exactly what you said, word for word. Time passes. The girl, her name is Mitsuha. I didn't say it, but that's her name. She goes to perform a ritual at a shrine. The ritual consists of her chewing up some rice and spitting it into a little bowl, wrapping it up, and letting it ferment into sake. That's the ritual. It's a little weird, but I don't judge, guys. I'm not the kind of person to judge, okay? I just lied to you guys. Obviously, everyone around her thinks that's weird. And they're like, "Why is she doing that?" So after the ritual, she's talking with her sister, and she's like, "I wish I was reborn as a hot Tokyo guy." Then the next day comes around. She basically becomes this guy. His name is Taki, but we're just gonna call her Mitsuha just because right now that's her in his body. And yeah, we just watch her navigate through his life. You know, we got the whole shebang. You know, his friends think that he's acting weird, fucks up shit at work, you know, type of deal. At work, she talks to one of his coworkers, and with the power of Riz by sewing, she helps him. By the time she gets back home, she realizes, oh, there's a message that said, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm just gonna respond," and then writes her name on his hand. Taki wakes up the next day with her name on his hand and a message that she left in his own phone. He's pretty confused, but he's like, "Okay, whatever." Then his friends are like, "Oh, you're back to normal. You've been acting pretty weird." It's like this for a bit. They go back and forth, swapping between each other's bodies, riding on each other's faces, arms, phones, whatever they got, you know. They send the fucking, what are those things? Pigeon carriers. They send them off. Any form of contact, basically. Mitsuha goes to visit the family shrine where they place the sake. Then apparently Mitsuha set up Taki on a date with his coworker. He's like, "All right, bet. She's a bad bitch. I ain't gonna lie. She's fine as fuck." You see the comet appear in the sky. Then the next day, the body swapping just stops. Taki's like, "Okay, that's weird. I'm gonna go find this girl. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna go up to her and be like, 'What's up? What's good?'" He finds where she lives, but he's 3 years too fucking late because the whole village has been blown to fucking smithereens. It doesn't exist. Mitsuha's dead. She's basically dead. I don't know what to tell you guys. She's no longer with us. R.I.P. Mitsuha. Also, Taki just like forgot her name. The only thing he remembers her by is the hair tie that's wrapped around his wrist. And it's there. We don't remember why. We don't know why, but it's there. Taki goes to find the family shrine in that big ass area. I don't know what it is. Volcano? Something like that. He goes to visit the shrine. He opens up the sake, takes a sip. Pretty fucking weird. You're drinking spit. I'm not gonna judge, however. And then, you know, he starts getting flashbacks because that happens when you drink people's spit, I guess. He then gets brought back to that point before the comet strike, and she's like, or well, he's in her body now. I'm gonna go still say Taki. He's like, "I gotta stop this before it happens." And they go to start making a plan. And they decide to do a terroristic act of blowing up the power plant. Yeah, that's part of that. They plan to evacuate everybody, but I thought it was funny to mention that, like, they're blowing shit up. Osama bin Laden type shit. Taki begins to run towards the shrine, and eventually Mitsuha wakes up and she's like, "Oh, what the fuck? I'm dead. What the fuck happened to the village, yo?" And you know, pretty traumatizing actually to realize that you're not supposed to be alive, but we'll just ignore that part. The body swapping happened like 3 years apart from each other. It wasn't parallel. There was 3-year gap. They were basically time traveling while body swapping. Some weird shit. While they're attempting to meet back up again, there's a flashback where Mitsuha meets Taki for the first time, and then she's like, "Hey, it's me." He's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And then she's kind of upset, and then she's like, "Here's my hair tie," and that's how he got the hair tie. Back to the present, as the sun is setting, they meet up in the same spot. They can hear each other. They can't see each other though. But then twilight strikes. oh wow, oh my god, it's almost like I told you guys to remember that. Twilight happens and they could see each other and they're like, oh my god, and they're like, we love you, I love you, they love each other, and they're like, you're alive. Yeah, they, you know, they do the whole romance shit, you know what I'm talking about? That they're like, I remember, and they're like, oh, let's write each other's names on our hands so we don't forget. So Taki, while he's back in his body, I'm gonna say that he's back in his body right now. I think he's back in his body. Yeah, he's in his body. He writes in her hand his name, supposedly. Twilight ends. It's nighttime. They just fucking vanish from each other. They don't exist anymore again. And then, you know, that's pretty sad. He tries to remember her name, but like he just ultimately forgets it, like last time. And you know, shit sucks, I guess. Back to Mitsuha, she is trying to save everybody again, and you know, she's making a run for it to get everyone evacuated. Her dad is kind of fucking with the plans. She falls down and she's like, I'm gonna open up my hand, because for some reason she didn't see it earlier. She looks and it says, I love you. It doesn't even say his name. The motherfucker wrote I love you. He didn't even write his name. I don't get it. I don't know what his thought process was. She doesn't even remember the nigga. Anyway, she gets back up. She runs to her dad's office and she's like, evacuate everyone. He's like, nah. She's like, fuck you. You are gonna do it. But it's too late. Bang. The comet breaks apart. Boom. Hits the town. Pretty fucking big explosion. It killed 300 people, man. That's a lot of people killed in just like a little rock falling down. But you know, Taki wakes up, he forgets everything. They move to like 5 years in the present, 5 years into the future. He's graduated from college, he's looking for a job, you know, but he's like, he feels like he remembers something. He doesn't remember her, but he's like, I remember the feeling of somebody special. A couple days pass, he notices Mitsuha on the opposite train and they split off, like the one scene from Fast and Furious. And then, you know, they're like, oh shit, I know that person. So they run off at the next stop. They meet at these stairs. Then they almost just don't say anything. They just walk by each other. Taki, being the GOAT, he's a better man than me. I wouldn't even have done this shit. He was like, hey, don't I know you from somewhere? And she starts crying. She's like, yeah, I think we do. And then they start crying. They cry together. And then boom, they ask, what is your name? Full circle. Title of the movie, baby. Bang. All right, now let's take a look at the techniques that are being used in this film. We'll be using Kashaka's research paper, and I'm gonna read it off because I don't remember it. Cinematic techniques shaping viewers' perception and emotion. And it's gonna be like our outline. There's 7 key points. 7 or 8? 8 key points. 8 key points. Starting off with definition and importance. Kashaka believes that cinematic techniques are intentional and are used to direct the emotion of the viewers. These techniques evolved alongside technology, like with cameras and editing softwares, as well as movies just being more structured, going from like rough and experimental to like, we got an idea now type shit. Every little choice, like visual cues, audio, storytelling decisions, they're all placed there. Take the viewer on an emotional journey. Not just about the plot of the story, but it's also about building up the emotions, the feelings that we get from watching it. That's what Kashaka sees as the main purpose of film technique. We got visual techniques. Wow. Kashaka says that things like lighting, color, movement, composition are all the foundation of movies. Using different techniques like 3-point lighting, color theory, framing, it's all part of visual storytelling. It's a sort of way to communicate the themes of a story without like outright saying it. Let's take the moment where Taki and Mitsuha meet up for like the first time. Look at the lighting. It's Twilight. They talk about Twilight. It's important to this story. The only time that the lighting is ever going to be like this in the movie. It shows how important it is. It's filled with warm colors and it's diffused everywhere. And it's just beautiful to look at. Everything in this movie is fucking beautiful. This guy don't miss, man. He don't miss. We could also look at the colors. If we go take a look at something like Comet, it's made of mainly blues, but when pieces break off, it's a little red. Red is danger. Blue is beautiful. When you look at the Comet, it's beautiful to look at. But when you look at like the Comet breaking off and it's glowing a little bit red, like, oh, that's a little dangerous. That shit might do something. Know what it's gonna do. We do know what's gonna do, but you know what I'm saying. As for framing, we see like Taki and Mitsuha in like big landscapes, and it reminds us of how insignificant they feel against the time and their fate, and how everything is kind of fucked up around them. But you know, despite that, they working on it. We're gonna talk about lighting and color just a little bit more. Kashaka argues that lighting changes the emotional tone of a story. Side lighting being used on something like a drama or a mystery, front lighting for like flat tones, and backlighting for ethereal or mystical type of things going on. You feel me? Color choice is another important thing. We got color choice, we got the palette, we have the saturation of the colors. There's a lot of things that go on with colors. You know, we see so many colors. We can see so many colors. That's insane. The first thing any audience sees is what's going on the screen before actually taking in what's going on with the story. Your Name uses warm lighting for the majority of the movie, but sometimes it switches to like cooler tones when it gets to like night, or something a little spooky might be happening. I don't remember anything scary being happening. We can look at the color transitions too. If we take a look at the comet, we can take the splitting of it being like the different kinds of timelines that they were kind of jumping between. It's a bit of a stretch, but you know, it's something. But we can go past the visuals. The story does rely on the audience being able to take in these clues and stuff and, you know, put the pieces together. We can go back to Cutting and Armstrong's study on cryptic emotions. They argue that movies nowadays rely on the audience being able to take these little pieces and putting it together by themselves. Things like expressions, body languages, or like just little cues that are going on. Your Name does this by having neither Taki or Mitsuha on screen at the same time. Almost ever. They are never in the same place at the same time, except for like those 2-3 times. But other than that, throughout the movie, we just have to put the pieces together. Most of their emotional connection comes from writing messages on each other's bodies or on their phones, stuff like that. No dialogue is almost ever exchanged between them. Even at the end, there isn't even a grand confession. It's not really needed either, because we know what they've been searching for, and boom, they got to it. Not everything is about what is actually said, but it's also about what isn't said. Just put the pieces together. It's more fun. It's like building a puzzle. Wouldn't you rather build a puzzle than like watch someone else build a puzzle? It's the same thing. Audio techniques. We got audio techniques next. Ishaka says that dialogue, ambience, sound effects help create a believable world for the story to be told in, as well as adding to the emotional responses. The merging of in-world sounds and the soundtracks that are being used help enhance the immersion. Sounds hold a lot of power. That being said, when it's done poorly, it really messes up everything. Mismatching sounds and the timing of the audio can really just like take the viewers out of the film and be like, what the fuck's going on? This film uses everyday sounds like classroom chatter, the traffic sounds, and like the mountain winds. It helps keep the story grounded in realism. The dialogue throughout is natural and is very minimal at peak emotional moments, letting the environment and silence carry the emotion. Soundtrack and sound effects, already talked about it a little bit, not gonna go too much into it. Ishaka says that soundtracks provide emotional cues, telling viewers how to feel without using visual techniques. Again, with the sound effects, they enhance the realism. The tempo of the music, the harmony it has with the visuals, and the consistency of the sound editing. Radwimps is the band that did the soundtrack for the whole movie, and they did basically everything that I just said. They have fast-paced and joyful songs for scenes like when they were body swapping at first, or slow and somber songs for moments that are sad, like when they started forgetting each other. There's another thing I want to point out. In the scene when Taki begins to forget Mitsuha, the soundtrack just drops. It's just silent, and it gives the audience a very emotional punch to the face. Silence plays a big part in sound design, and I'll talk about it more in the next movie. Yeah, narrative techniques, baby. Ishaka mentions how films use a narrative structure to help build an emotional journey. There's two different kinds. There's linear storytelling and non-linear storytelling. Linear is basically beginning, middle, and end. It's pretty simple. It's best to help viewers understand the plot and build up the momentum. Non-linear uses flashbacks in different parts of memories. It forces viewers to stay and pay attention, because if they're not, they're just not going to be able to understand what's going on. Your Name uses non-linear storytelling to help with the mystery and the emotions. Because the flow of the timeline is not very easy to follow, we as the viewers feel the distance and longing that these characters also feel. Character development, we got character development, baby. Shaka believes that for good character development, it all begins with a strong character. They must have clear motivations, their own personal desires, and you should be able to actually see the change that's going on. Adding a negative trait or two also is very good, honestly, because we don't want characters to feel like they're perfect. We want them to feel like us. We want them to be relatable. It helps add to the realism. We have Mitsuha. She's longing to literally leave her small town. She gets the choice to, but then she realizes she kind of misses where she comes from. Or we have Taki, who starts off relentless and distracted, and we watch him mature into somebody that is willing to risk everything for a person that he doesn't even really remember. Having their emotional arcs of yearning, loss, rediscovery, it makes them relatable, and it's hard to forget them. All right, emotional impact. Emotional impact! Shaka says the ultimate goal of a movie is to have deep emotional engagement. Having empathy and seeing yourself in a character are all central to this. Filmmakers should be able to control emotional arcs carefully, making it resonate with a large audience. The audience can empathize with Mitsuha because she wants to get out and do more things, but she's stuck in her little small town. We might also see ourselves in a character like Taki, who is desperate to find something or someone, even though he doesn't remember it. But regardless, he knows it's important to him. Finally, I wanted to save my favorite movie of all time for last, and it's not even live action. I want to Eat Your Pancreas. an animated movie that's based off a light novel with the same name, written by Yoru Sumino. Just like the last movies, I'm gonna give a summary of it, but I beg you guys, please, 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 this is me, this is prayer hands right here, you see? Please, watch the movie for yourself. I'm gonna throw a very small link. That's a website you can watch it at. Don't tell people I did that. Go ahead, search that in your bar. Watch it, please. It is so good. My explanation won't do it justice, and I'm gonna spoil it, and I don't want to spoil it because it's so good that I want you to stop watching my own video, go watch it, and then come back. Don't forget about me. Come back and watch it. Okay? Do that. 3, 2, 1. I gave you a warning. So if you're watching this still and you haven't watched it, the fuck are you doing? Go and watch it. The movie starts off with a bang. It's the funeral of a girl named Sakura Yamauchi, the classmate of the boy that's narrating over this as we speak. You can't hear him. I don't think you can hear him. He's talking. Just know he's talking. The boy whose name I will not disclose yet is talking. And he's like, I missed out on the funeral. I didn't feel like going. He also mentions the last text that he sent this girl. Probably can't read that. So I'm going to just translate it for you guys. It says, I want to eat your pancreas. It's the name of the movie. Expect to see it a couple of times. Expect to hear it a couple of times. We go back in time to when they first meet, and Sakura is messing around with him, and he's trying to do his job as the librarian type of thing. And she's like, you know, there's a little myth. If you are sick, your organ is sick, you eat that organ and it'll make you healthy again. He's like, hey, are you a fucking cannibal? She's like, nah. But guess what? He's like, what? She's like, I want to eat your pancreas. Boom. That's like 2 minutes into the movie. They dropped the movie title 2 times. 2 times. We go even further back in time to the boy, and he's in the hospital. Comes across a diary. I think it's called Dying Without Living. I didn't write it down for some reason. He opens it up and he finds out that the owner of it is like dying of a serious pancreas illness. And he's like, that sucks. Couldn't tell by now whose diary it is. It's hers. Sakura's. It's her diary. He dies, remember? She notices that he's not very fazed by it. She's like, okay, I kind of like this guy. So, you know, she starts bothering him even more. This is the start of a new relationship between the two. She starts asking him to do stuff. They go out and do stuff. They do things. They have lunch. Stop bad guys. You know, all that jazz. Things that you would usually do as the high schooler. But people in school are like a little confused. They're like, oh, this guy's a loner. He's a loser. Why is he hanging out with one of the most popular girls in school? Regardless, Sakura doesn't care. He probably doesn't care. I mean, it's probably been like that his whole life. They're out eating again. Then this bitch, I'm sorry. I hate her. I'm referring to her as this bitch throughout the whole thing. This bitch comes up and she starts yelling at them. She's like, why are you hanging out with this guy? Blah, 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 blah. She's like, I can't hang out with niggas. And she's like, all right, whatever, fuck you. Then she leaves. Typically, after you go eat, you would go to the beach. And that is what they do. It was at this moment where he asks her if she's actually gonna die for real. Which she answers with, she talks about how he is the only person that can actually offer her like a sense of reality, because her parents are honestly like kind of like ignoring the fact that that's happening to an extent. They're not ignoring flat out, but they're like, nothing's happening type of delusional. Doctors are like, yeah, no, you gonna die. You know, he's like, you're gonna die, but sure, okay, I fuck with you, I guess. She thinks that if she tells other people, they will grow distant from her, but he's different because he doesn't really care that much. A little while passes. I think it's their spring or summer break that comes up, and they're like, let's go on a trip together. So they get on a train so they can go to wherever they're heading to. And in that moment, Sakura asks for his name. He doesn't want his name written down because he's afraid that her family and friends are gonna like get mad at him. So out of, you know, his request, she doesn't do it. But she still asks for his name. He says it. We don't get to hear it as the viewers. It's muffled by the train noises. His name's a secret for now. They hang out for a bit, you know, they do things that you would do on a trip. Then they go back to the hotel room. Sakura's in the shower. She's like, can you hand me something that I need? I think it's like shampoo or conditioner. Goes into her bag, finds pills, Percocets, Molly, all kinds of drugs. You feel me? Heroin. He's like, that's a lot of shit. I don't like it. I don't like it. He ends up just dropping off the shampoo for her, and then he just ignores the fact that it happened. Sakura brings up playing truth or dare a bit with him. They do, and near the end, one of the last dares she dares him is carry me to bed. He does it like a bridal carry, and you know, puts her there. Sakura asks to be asked one last truth or dare. He says truth, and she decides to say this. We go on towards the end of the trip, and we got Sakura's bitch fucking friend yelling at her. I'm telling y'all, I hate this character. So I love this movie, but I hate her. Next thing you know, he's over at her house getting a book that he wanted to read. They play video games for a bit. He's like, I'm ready to go. Can you just give me the book? She kind of provokes him. a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, this scene's a little uncomfortable to watch. Not the greatest scene to put on for the kids, but you know, he basically gets on top of her in the bed, and he realizes that he's fucked up as soon as she starts crying, so he just runs out, you know. And during that, he comes across her boyfriend, or her ex, and he's like, "You just come back from her place?" He's like, you her ex?" Then they get into an argument. They start arguing. He gets punched in the face by her ex, and Sakura comes out and she's like, "Stop it, guys." And then she's like, "Bye, nigga. Don't want to see you again." And he's like, "All right." Then they have a little emotional talk. They go a little deep. I'm not gonna bring it up. It's not too important, but it just helps. It helps add to the emotional bond between them. After that, they continue to knock off stuff from her bucket list. I forgot to say, they're doing stuff for her bucket list because she's obviously about to die. She wants to do stuff as any sane person would. Things are going great. Sakura gets hospitalized again. You know, he goes to visit. He sees her doing a little funny dance. They talk some more, they exchange a hug, you know, all that jazz, being friends. Then this bitch, she shows up again. I swear to you, she comes into the room and she starts yelling again. The first thing she does is start yelling. Does she never have a happy moment in her life? Then there's a little cut after that scene where Sakura is talking to her mom. She's like, "Oh, when I die, I want you to do something." She's like, "Don't talk like that." Like, "Yeah, just do it for me, please." And like, all right. A couple days pass. Sakura's like, "Let's sneak out of the hospital." So they both go up somewhere, up a road. Then they start watching fireworks. Fireworks start popping. They exchange another hug after talking to each other some more. Things are going great. Everything's going great, honestly. Surely nothing bad is about to happen. Sakura gets discharged from the hospital, and they're like, "Let's meet up and do something." So he's at a cafe, and he's grown as a person. He's grown a lot. He went from being like a shy person to now understanding what's up with life. You know, life is great. So in that moment, he decides to sext. What? He did not sext, guys. He sent a text. He sent a final text, the final text from the start of the movie, where he says, "I want to eat your pancreas." Uh-oh. He ends up waiting there all day. Eventually, nighttime comes around, and she doesn't show up. He's like, she must have forgotten. He goes home later that night, and on the news, they're describing what happened in an alleyway where there was a confrontation between a serial killer and a girl. That girl ended up getting stabbed, and her name was Sakura. Yeah, no. I didn't expect it to when I first watched. She genuinely, like, okay, I'm gonna stop telling the story for a little bit. This scene fucked me up. When I found out she died from getting stabbed, it shouldn't have happened that way. But I get it. It's a story, you know? You're supposed to feel shocked. Anyways, I went off topic. We'll talk more about it later. Obviously, he's distraught. The friend that he was waiting for, the friend that he's been hanging out with almost every day, just died. He didn't even know about it. So, you know, that sucks. We're back to the present day where we see him cooped up in his room, reading books, just so he can forget about the tragic event. Eventually, he gets up, goes over to her house, pays his respects, and he brings up to his mom that he knew about her illness, actually, and that there was a little diary that he wanted to read. Her mom is like, "Oh my god, you're the one, the chosen one." And he's like, "What?" "Yeah, no, she wanted me to leave something for somebody. She knew that he would come pick it up." He's like, "Ah, word. All right, cool." Her mother hands it over to him, and she's like, "I want you to keep it because that's what she wanted." And you know, the death scene is bad, but this next scene is 10 times worse. It gets to me so much. Basically, from this point on, we get to see how Sakura lived her life from her perspective, talking about meeting him, all the stuff they did together. She's like, "Oh man, this disease sucks, but I like this guy. He's very cool." He gets to the end of it and he's like, "Yep, that's about everything we did." She's like, "You sure she didn't leave you anything more?" He's like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" Eventually, he flips even further back and he sees there's a final message dedicated to him. This scene gets me every time. I know I've said that like 2 times already, but this is the scene. This is the scene that breaks me down. I'm not gonna go into it, but she basically talks about how much that he has changed her life in that short amount of time, and it's so colorful, it's so beautiful, the writing is amazing, and it's something. It's something. After reading it, he's like, "Can I see her phone?" He checks it and he sees that the last message that he sent was actually read by her. So she got to see what he said, which is very nice. Those, at least those were the last words. He breaks down in front of her mom. First time we've seen, honestly, any big emotion from him, which is a pretty big thing. After all that, she goes on to ask for his name, and his name is Shiga Haruki. Haruki means spring tree. If you don't know, Sakura means like cherry blossoms. When do cherry blossoms happen? In the spring tree. Their names are connected. Boom. It's like the last fuck you the movie gives. It's like you think that wasn't enough? Here you go. Their names. And it's like, God, man. It's like they bent me over and they just gave me full, like they pumped me full of this sad shit. I didn't want it. Haruki goes on to explain everything to her bitch friend, and she's upset about it. She's like, why didn't she tell me? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm just Sigma like that. Her final wish, one of her final wishes was actually being good friends with her, and he asks to be friends with her. A year passes, and you know, it's about, I think it's her death I don't think that's the right thing to say, but the anniversary of her death. They go to her shrine to pay respects. They're good friends. Yeah, it's such a beautiful story, but I don't think my overview did it justice. So if you listen through all this and you still don't feel like watching the movie, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to do. Now let's look at how this movie managed to evoke such powerful emotions out of somebody like me. We're gonna do it in the same format as the last one. This time we're gonna use a different article. It's titled How to Make Your Audience Feel. It's by Entertainment Industry. It is not by a single person for some reason. It's by a whole industry. Anyways, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different strategies to go over. Wait, there's something I want to add. Let's go and take a look back at Lean's paper. Lin? I think it's Lin, but I think it's funny to say Lean. I'm gonna say Lin for the proper citing. I'm gonna call him Lean, okay? Professor? If you need a reminder, their paper is on the psychological model of tension and suspense, something like that. Remember, emotional tension doesn't only build from conflict, but it also builds from uncertainty. We know Sakura is gonna die. The movie plays into it the whole time. Keeps mentioning the fact that she has her illness. She's in the hospital because of her illness, all this stuff. And it's like, that's what's gonna take her out, right? But when she dies from the stabbing, it puts the viewer into a state of emotional shock. Again, Lin argues that emotional engagement often peaks when viewers develop empathy for the characters. They spend long moments with each other instead of having flashy moments. It gives us moments like the train rides, or the lunches, or the hospital visit. This all builds tension, not by danger, but by making us actually care. It all works because, as Lean puts it, we all know what's gonna happen. We don't know how or when it's gonna happen. Did that for the grade. That was for the grade. Okay, now we can go into the 7 points. There might be some overlap with what I just said. Don't worry about it. I won't repeat it as much. Emotional theory is very important. It's the main thing that helps the audience build an emotional connection to the characters. Let's take Sakura for example. We know that she's gonna die. We know about her illness. It's why it's so easy to empathize with her. We have a sort of emotional release watching these characters grow with each other through small little moments. It's a really slow burn of emotions, with a very emotional plot twist that hits you like a semi-truck that's carrying a semi-truck, but that semi-truck also carrying another semi-truck, on top with another semi-truck. This movie really just builds you up just to fucking crush you. Relatable characters. Next up, relatable characters. Sakura, despite death being around the corner, she's still bright and smiling. She's happy. Sometimes. She understands what's going to happen to her soon, but she disregards that just so she can live a normal life for the other people around her. Haruki, on the other hand, is different. He shows restraint for his emotions, and he doesn't open up to anybody. He doesn't see himself as someone worth being friends with, which is why he's always found burying himself in books. Seeing their flaws and how they grow around each other makes it all feel real. Like this could be something that somebody might be going through right now. Setting and tone. The whole movie is soft lighting, bright colors, calm scenery, which helps with the bittersweet tone that the movie is set in. All the places and settings that they're in are all places that we could see in the real world. It helps things stay grounded in reality. There's also a pretty obvious contrast that can be seen between their everyday adventures and the emotional scenes. Bright colors and lights for whenever they're out having fun with each other, and dark colors and dim lighting for moments of sadness and seriousness. Cinematography and visual storytelling. When people hear cinematography, they usually think of things like camera work or composition and things like that. Same thing exists for animated movies. It's just a little bit different. There's symbolic shots of cherry blossoms and empty classrooms, and they all reinforce the themes of the story. It's something that's done pretty subtly. There are times where frames are held longer than expected. Close-ups on faces and hands are seen throughout, or the scene is framed in a specific way. It all causes the pace of the story to slow down, and it lets the viewers take everything going on in. Music and sound design. Very little of the score is actually used throughout the movie. If you notice, it's pretty silent, but when it does come in, it is very effective. Sounds is used in the majority of the movie, and it offers moments of stillness and reflection. But whenever there's a scene that's emotional or important, the music comes in to enhance what we're feeling. Something about it is so simple, but it adds a lot. Like I said with cinematography, this allows the viewer to feel the weight of the emotion. Story pacing and emotional arcs. The pacing of the story is pretty slow, but it allows the viewers and the audience to take in everything. Like I've said, I've done this motion like 20 million times. They're taking it all in. This is done on purpose to allow a connection to build between the viewer and the characters. When it comes to the emotional arcs, it doesn't reach its peak until near the end of the film. But not a single moment is wasted leading up to her death. They build it up so well. Finally, we got resonant ending. This is the most heart-crushing ending I have seen in a movie so far, but in a way, it's also kind of satisfying. Hear me out. All in the one moment, we get to see the change of Haruki, going from a closed-off, silent person to someone that's more open now, and it's all thanks to Sakura. Watching him actually grieve her death and come across the diary again is like a really nice way to close off the story. And I've already said it before, but that final message she left for him is some of the most beautiful writing I've witnessed. Anyways, that was a lot of shit. My back hurts, my feet hurts. I've been recording for like 3 hours just to get through this 12-page script. No, 11-page script. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good chance that like nobody makes it to this point in the video. But if you did, what's up? You might have also noticed like random sources being thrown into the middle of things. That was done just for my grade. I don't plan on doing it if I ever do content like this again. Or at least I would make it a lot cleaner than what I did. Because I have 4 days as of me recording this to get this video out. If this video does well, I might do something like it again. I feel like I might do it regardless if this video did well. It's kind of enjoyable. I like this stuff. Anyways, you know, like and subscribe, all that good shit, you know.